Y'all know what it is. It's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pot. Cash App, $, usual 50-50. Tickets are on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshitting on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Y'all know what it is. It's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has a missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping, $, usual 50-50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20, with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
just grooming products for you, just so natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be your swagger, your style, class, and luxury. We make our products tailor-made for you with high quality. Yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Grooming company. To give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah. Black, gentleman, yeah. Company. To give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Yo. What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormybman for this Monday, July 28th, 2025. This is number 129 in the series of Nerds, and we're revisiting a subject because the film has finally dropped, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's so different, as we call this episode Fantastic First Steps for Fantastic Four. Yeah, the film was released last Friday, and it's been out just a couple of days and has already gone over the $200 million mark for ticket sales, and to primarily considerable reviews. People who have had an opportunity to check the film out are pleasantly pleased with what they came away with in light of what has transpired with these characters over their last inceptions of cinematic releases. So we're here tonight to talk about that just a bit. I'm actually flying solo this evening because the brother Drew Titan is on the road, and he's checking in as he's making his moves. And I'm quite certain that he'll want to come back and have his say about this cinematic experience regarding this film, Fantastic Four: The First Steps, because he's had a chance to see it as well. But timing being of essence, we're going to talk about it this evening from my perspective, what I was able to gather from the film, and hopefully we can get something from you, the audience, if you have had a chance to see the film. Maybe I'll even drop a link where, people can come aboard and share their thoughts and sentiments on the franchise as a whole and how they see things shaping up for the future as we venture ahead with these particular characters. So, welcome everybody. Let's see who we got in the building out there. We're going to take a quick peek and see who we got in the chat. Let's see here. We got Adrian Viet out there early. Universal Truth is in the building. Eric Jordan is in the building. Mr. Shelton, LDBC or Nothing Reloaded, is in the building. Anthony Bolton, what's good with you? And let's see who else. David Scott III has slid on in. Appreciate any and every one of you who've come in, because, nerds talk is important too. You can talk about boxing, you can talk about worldly affairs, but there's nothing like letting down those hairs, of nerds talking about our films, our subjects, because we cover more than just films on this show, but tonight it's the Fantastic Four. Yeah. You know, when the films first made their debut, they looked a lot costume-wise, not unlike 2025's release. These were the original cast members of the first Fantastic Four film, the Roger Corman film. Many people are aware of this, especially if you happen to be a nerd. This film was produced in 1994, I believe. And it was shelved because the IP was sold to a film studio. Marvel has sold it. And 1992, and Horizon Studios, which was owned by Roger Corman, they made a low budget Fantastic Four film. To never be released cinematically. That was the point, to make the film so that they could secure the rights that were sold to them in 1986 by Marvel Studios. You see, when you own a priority or a property like that, you have to do something with it within a certain amount of time, or the rights will go back to the original rightful owner. And the Corman produced film prevented the IP from going back to Marvel Comics. I'd like to ask, how many of you out there have seen this film? Because though the special effects were very cheap, because like I said, it was low budget, it was a film that kind of held a bit of nostalgia from the original comics. You know, the Fantastic Four, the comics, they debuted in November of 1961. They're considered Marvel's first family in the comics. You have Reed Richards, Sue Richards, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, also known as The Thing. Their story has been told many times over. A cosmic storm in space happened upon these astronauts, scientists, as they ventured into space, and coming in to the cosmic storm, it forever changed their DNA, turning them into superpowered beings with different powers, typically along the lines of what their natural DNA was. Johnny Storm was a hot-tempered, flashy young man, so he was turned into the Human Torch. Sue Storm, who was Reed's wife and assistant, was an intelligent, albeit at that time when the character was originally written, somewhat of a shy woman. So the invisible powers that she inherited disappearing, being able to be disengaged from things that pressured her or whatever. That's where her power. Reed, with the genius intellect, whose mind could stretch beyond that of a normal person, with his ingenuity, his body would stretch in the same capacity. He inherited those type of powers. And Ben, Reed's best friend, was not only a great pilot, but a man who was full of brawn and kind of rock hard in his feeling and approach and dealing with matters. So he turned into the orange rock hybrid known as the Thing. These characters had a successful Saturday morning cartoon. And then later there were inceptions of where other characters from Marvel joined the Fantastic Four. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, was known to have joined them for a duration. She-Hulk had joined them. And then also we had Herbie the Robot, who actually was featured in this 2025 film. So they reached across the genre and found ways to make the modern 2025 film more acceptable, more relatable. And they kind of got it right. I was wondering if the film would be silly. I was wondering if it would be hokey. I was wondering if it would have the original Marvel thematic of elements of seriousness with a slight blend of humor here and there, but not to overtake the overall narrative. And they were successful. I could put this film up there with the original Iron Man as far as how the humor was poignant but not overwhelming, how the seriousness was somewhat relatable, but at the same time imaginative. So they did a great job with this. Now, is it a film without folly? No, there are some shortcomings, but this has to be the best cinematic produced Fantastic Four film. The second inception of the Fantastic Four by Fox Studios arrived roughly around 2005, 2007. The Tim Story directed films, Rise of the Silver Surfer being the sequel to 2005's Fantastic Four. One of the best things about that sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer, was the introduction of the character, the Silver Surfer. Straight off the pages of the comic, he looked great in CGI in the film for that time, and it still holds up pretty well the way the special effects were created for that film. One of the things that is a detraction in the modern film is they brought a new Silver Surfer in, the female version of Silver Surfer, who actually exists in the comics. But once again, Marvel going down that direction by switching up the sexes because people were looking for the Norman Rod Silver Surfer, not necessarily the, what's her name, Shala Ball. But there is still room for things to change. So, this is what we're here to talk about this evening. Now, one film in particular that does not bring back great memories, and that would be 2015's Fantastic Four. The film which was just totally bastardized by Josh Trank, who had done such a wonderful job with his film Chronicle. He basically turned the Fantastic Four into whatever he wanted them to be. Just totally wrecking source material. And as you can see how Ben Grimm is depicted in this photograph here, he doesn't even have trousers on. Even though he's made of rock, we shouldn't have been able to see all his rocks, huh? Yeah! Changing Johnny Storm into an African American and making Sue Storm adopted. Come on now. You see, this film and what they did with the characters is exactly what James Gunn has done with the new Superman film, which is why I will never see it in the movie theater. While it's closed, yeah. Anyway, we can have a discussion about Fantastic Four, the first steps. Not only did they get the characters right, I was worried about one casting in particular here, and that was Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Is that who I had in mind? Absolutely not. Personally, I was hoping for someone like Timothy Oliphant or someone like that. But it's okay. Pedro didn't ruin the role. He kept his acting in check because he can perform well when directed well. Vanessa Kirby was outstanding as Sue Storm. And when you think about Joseph Quinn, who played Johnny Storm, he brought some elements of a young Robert Downey Jr. to that role with his quirkiness, and I thought he was okay. And Eben Moss Bachrach as the Thing, Ben Grimm. Performances were great across the board with these guys. Yeah. One special treat that I have to say this before we move forward and maybe like get involved with what the chat is saying. This film knocked it out of the park with the cinematic introduction of the real Galactus. Yes, finally, we got to see the real Galactus from the comics, straight off the pages of the comics. Ralph Ineson playing Galactus, who had the voice and the way that they depicted him in live action, some part CGI, some part, they call it, there's a word that they use, but he was live action on the set in costume. Great stuff. Yeah. Overall, I could say that I really practical. There you go, King Corleone, Young Deezy. Thank you guys. You know how you be talking sometime and you lose your words. I wanted to say I had lost my words there, trying to figure out practical effects as well as the CGI. Yeah. Thank you guys. See, I know you guys are good for something. Help Stormy out when he making mistakes. You make me look good, huh? You make me look good. Yeah. But Galactus was awesome. I remember when I first saw him and they showed him and they showed him as the supersized celestial-like being. I'm like, look at that, man. He looked great. And when the Fantastic Four laid eyes on him for the first time, they took a step back like, holy shit, what is that? Yeah. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. So I'm going to go back to the chat. We got a few people that came in that are now, commenting out there. Okay, I got David Scott III out there. I saw, of course, we got Young Deezy is in the building. Anthony Bolton. I'm trying to go back to some comments and start figuring what the talking points that we have here. Universal Truth says it's a good family film. It actually is, man. And if you notice, they didn't go too far one way or another with woke stuff. They didn't go too far with hokiness or jokes. Young Deezy says, Galactus looked awesome. Yes, he did, man. Yes, he did. Do you guys remember in Guardians of the Galaxy when Benicio del Toro's character was telling them about the Celestials and the Infinity Stones, and they showed that one Celestial destroying the planet, and that scepter that he had when he struck the ground, the top of it looked like Galactus's helmet. Remember that? That was amazing. And that's when I started thinking about, man, Marvel can bring Galactus to life. Anthony Bolton says, in the comics, Black Panther led the Fantastic Four when Reed and Sue left the team to work on their marriage. Eric Jordan says, 2015 Fantastic Four was a complete trash of a movie. Yes, it was, man. That's why I said Josh Trank had totally bastardized the characters and the film, just as James Gunn has done with Superman. Same. Jimmy Bernard has come into the building. What's good with you, Jimmy Bernard? Good to see you, bro. King Corleone says it's practical. Yeah. Anthony Bolton says Pedro Pascal surprised me because Mr. Fantastic, it's not easy role to play because he tends to be dry on purpose. Yeah. He says Galactus was kind of terrifying, as he should be. Great job by Marvel. Yeah, you remember when he set foot upon the earth and he kind of stooped down on one knee and he grabbed a whole handful of the earth and sniffed it? It was like he hadn't been in a humanoid form on a planet in a long time. So he was reliving what that was all about, bringing him to life, so to speak. And then he was walking around like a giant kaiju in New York City, man, stomping out buildings and stuff, man. Hey, you guys, let me ask you this question, though. Talking about the film, how did you like? I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it, but I want to get the thoughts from you guys in the chat, and please respond to this question. How did you like Marvel's this Earth that they were on, mixture of retro 60s and modern day and futuristic New York? How did you guys take to that? I thought that that was cool as hell, and some of the best special effects that I had ever seen in a Marvel film, period. In 30 films that they've done, this had to be one of the best films, special effects wise, where that world and the reality that they created for the Fantastic Four, I thought it was so awesome, man. You know what it made me think about? The Jetsons. Remember the Jetsons cartoon? That's kind of what it made me think about. I thought it was tremendous. Universal says, yeah, he did do the Maximus from Gladiator. Yeah, he stooped down to one knee and scooped up a handful of the earth and sniffed it. I was like, look at Galactus, man. That was cold-blooded, bro. See, it's little touches of detail like that that make it all worth the while, doesn't it, family? When you get a chance to see that they put little things like that, subtleties. Because I think when you're watching the movie, you don't think about it too much. But man, that was the first thing I thought about. Gladiator, Maximus. And I'm like, here it is. He's coming to Earth. He's planning to conquer the Earth. Maximus was grabbing the Earth in his hand and sniffing it and rubbing it when he was going into battle. Taking life in, right? Great stuff, man. Jamel 000 says it was unique. Yes, it was. Universal said it was awesome. Justin Cash says the futuristic 60s was cool. Yeah, man, the costumes, the design of the streets and everything, the skyline. Oh man, that all looked great, bro. It looked great. King Corleone says that was probably the best part of it, the retroism. Yeah, because you didn't you fall right into that world right away? It's like you fell right into it because there was something familiar yet new about it all. Great stuff, man. Anthony says, yeah, Galactus sniffed that earth like it was Potts greens. Yes, he did, man. Young Deezy says it looked great. Had a 90s, early 2000s look to it. David Scott III says, why the female surfer, though? I think that they put the female Silver Surfer in there because she was originally written in the story that they were doing. And when they made changes, she was already a main character of the film. So I think they were just making her, finishing it up with her, but we'll still at some point get to see Norman Rad in the future. Adrian Villa says it looked cool and gave this graphic novel vibe. Yeah. And Justin Cass says, how do you think we get the Fantastic Four in the main universe? Oh, they're coming because Dr. Doom disappeared with, well, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the film. But, you know, Franklin Richards, you know. So there has to be a way to track Franklin down. And I'm going to tell you something. if you guys remember how in their universe, the Baxter building, the way it's set, I think that because they were travelers. They travel space and time, and with Reed's intellect, they could even possibly travel multiverse. I believe what's going to happen is, looking for Franklin, they're going to come to the 616 universe, and Doom is probably going to lead them here, especially since Doom is supposed to, upon recognition, look like Earth 616 Tony Stark. So I think that that's how they'll be brought here. And maybe Avengers Tower in 616 universe is going to be what was the Baxter building in their universe. King Corleone says the Fantastic car was lit. Yeah, man. Wasn't that cool? It kind of looked like an Eldorado convertible and could fly. Yeah, that old Eldorado. Remember that old Eldorado, man? They had the long front and the short rear end. That's what it looked like, didn't it? That old late 60s, early 70s Eldorado, Cadillac Eldorado. Man. Jamil says, the only one thing bothered me about the Galactus design, they didn't make his pupils square. That's a small thing, man. He looked pretty damn good otherwise, I'm telling you. He looked very good. Galactus was awesome. He looked better than I thought they might make him look. And did you see that you could see on the back, I forget those things that they call where he was plugged into his ship? Man, I'm like, that's kind of like some Matrix type stuff right there. Remember when they were waking Neo up out of the pods and those things that was plugged into his body? That was kind of like Galactus being plugged into his own ship. That was some amazing stuff right there. Von D Gaming, what's good with you? Dubs the Great is asking, is Sue Storm that powerful in the comics? She overpowered Galactus in the final battle scene. Well, no, she had some help from Shalabal, but also you had to take into consideration that Sue was fighting for her child. That's a woman fighting for her child, and she gave her all, literally. You see, this is where you have to be able to, it's not about suspending the imagination. It's about being of depth to understand what they were trying to say. Sue was expending every ounce of her strength fighting for her child. That's what you have to understand. You see, you can't always bang people over the head with saying things, verbiage, and dialogue. Sometimes you have to use, as my granddad used to call them, your thinkums. You got to think things through, man. Be Reed Richards for a change. And think and understand, interpret, and gather you know, this information, because it's right there. It is totally right there. Yeah. Don't you remember on the Incredible Hulk TV show when they were showing Sue Storm and not Incredible Hulk TV show, when they were showing Banner and when they talked about the lady who was saving her son from the burning car crash, and she was able to lift the car and get her son out of the car, and Banner was trying to wonder how could she do it when his wife died in the car fire and he couldn't lift the car. So he was very angry about that within himself. But that woman tapped into something that scientists deemed that it was something special about a woman fighting for her child. That's right, Bundy Gaming. He was also being pulled by the black hole, and he was still walking out of it, right? And Sue was trying to push him in, and Shalabal came in and tried to help give him an extra little nudge too. Yeah. And if you guys remember Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when they had John Krasinski playing Reed Richards, do you remember him traveling through the dimensions with that Doctor Doom Reed Richards like transmitter that allowed him to come through that square, come down through that square? Yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff, man, from the comics. But I was really impressed with the special effects, man. And I'm not talking about stuff blowing up and all that. Even the depiction of space in this film was quite awesome. Really more believable than even in the Guardians of the Galaxy films or Thor, or even what was the other film that depicted space? Quantum, Ant-Man, Quantumania. I just thought that they just did a great job. And I put it on tier with Iron Man 1, because Iron Man 1 was our first look at the Marvel Universe, right? And Tony Stark being able to make that suit in his lab, the Mark III, all of that stuff. And you know, when they made the Transformers film, that's when you knew that they could do Iron Man, right? And it more than lived up to it. So I'm very happy. I can't wait to get it on home video where I can watch it over and over again. And by the way, guys, my copy of the Thunderbolts came in the mail today, so I get the chance to watch the Thunderbolts now at home too. I'm so happy about that, because that movie comes out tomorrow, and my copy came in the mail today. So Thunderbolts is about to get some views by Stormy. I'm gonna tell you again. Adrian said, I heard it's doing better internationally than Gunn's bastardized Superman. Listen, the DC people who are supporting Gunn, meaning I'm talking about the fans now that go to the movies and pay for tickets, The people who are supporting that foolishness, they are just a sick batch of folk, because that is not Superman. That is not the Justice League. That is not Lois Lane. None of that stuff. James Gunn has a way of turning source material characters into nothing, into whatever he wants to make it. Peter Quill from Guardians of the Galaxy on film is nothing. Chris Pratt's Peter Quill is nothing like the Peter Quill in the comics, nor is Drax the Destroyer, nor is Gamora or Nebula. The only one who's kind of like he was in the comics is Rocket. And these people just decide they're going to make a Superman movie and make it whatever they want to. And I listened to this one gentleman. I had never heard his channel before, but he was giving a critique of James Gunn's Superman. And some of the stuff he said was stuff I hadn't even thought about. But he broke it down to like this. The way that James Gunn is making Superman is that Superman has to rely on everyone else to help him. And he's not saving the day for no one or anything. And then his parents, so-called, sent him here to conquer and dominate the world. I mean, all of that is nowhere near source material. Where the hell does James Gunn get off deciding to do that to the Superman DC universe? Where does he get off doing that? And the people I say, oh yes, we love it. If you don't get the hell out of here with that. Because I feel the same way about Josh Trank's Fantastic Four. That was not the Fantastic Four. It was Chronicle Part 2. Ben Grimm running around with no trousers on, looking nothing like in the comics. He just looked like a big orange Rocky character. And the young man that they had playing Reed Richards, are you kidding me? What's his name? Miles Teller. Miles Teller is about as close to Reed Richards as I am. The hell out of here, man. And the chocolate covered Johnny Storm. I don't care how popular Michael B. Jordan is. Killmonger is it. That's it. Not Johnny Storm. Just stop it with the foolishness, man. Doves the Gray says, hoping for an extended version when it comes to Blu-ray. I could tell they cut a lot of scenes. The movie went by quick to me. You're talking about Fantastic Four? What happened, Doves the Great, is this. Kevin Feige had them go back and cut all the woke stuff out of it because it was there. It was originally shot. Even interviews had been given about certain elements of the storytelling in the film that didn't make it in the final print. And then don't forget, they had test audiences screenings. And those people may not have liked that woke stuff. And Kevin Feige not only had them cut that stuff out, but he fired all those people. They gone. They're out of there. They messed up the first, the phase 4 and 5 with that foolishness. Yeah, Dubs the Great. Drew and I did a show about that a few shows back when we were talking about the Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts. I think we were talking about. They got rid of a lot of those people. They got fired from Marvel, man. They got sent packing. all those folks putting their personal thoughts about relationships and stuff into the Marvel IP. And I'm gonna tell you guys something. And Drew and I talked about this. Excuse me, I'm moving some stuff around in the background, so you guys might hear a little noise. But they would not have been able to get away with that if Stan Lee was still alive. Stan Lee would not have approved that, because that's not how he wrote his characters or even developed them. Stan Lee didn't have a thing against gay characters or anything like that, but they had to be created. You didn't reserve the right to take established characters and IP and flip it on its end, whether it's ethnicities, nationalities, or sexual genders and loving natures and all of that kind of stuff. That's too earth political for real. And Stan Lee wasn't about that. Now, he would make stories in the comics that could parallel experiences that we have from society, which is why Professor X and Magneto were like symbolic and representatives of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. But he didn't make either one of them black. But he made the principles of what they fought for with two different philosophies. The X-Men being outcast and prejudiced against. He took those elements and wrote strong stories and narratives behind them. See, that's how you do that. You don't just take something that and just force it down someone's throat. No pause, of course, that you just want them to acknowledge something. Yeah. Isaiah GQ, what's happening, bro? Isaiah GQ says, I just saw Fantastic Four. What'd you think of it, Isaiah? What'd you think of it? I can tell you one thing, though. I like that Fantastic car, though. That sucker was nice. That sucker was nice. Yeah, buddy. Gotta get me one of them bad boys. Go back to the 60s. The retro. Look at that bad boy there. I just put the image up for y'all. Check that out. The fantastic car. Tell me that don't look sweet. That sucker is cold than a mug, man. Tell me you wouldn't want to be driving around town in one of those. Then when rush hour pick up, you crank that bad boy up and it start flying. Man, shoot. You know, Drew and I did a show, a Nerds, where we were talking about great vehicles in movies and TV shows, right? Well, the fantastic car joins that list right now, I'm telling you. That damn car was bad than a mug, man. And even though they retro, look at those costumes, man. Don't they look sweet? I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I'm just looking at that car. I'm straight checking that car out. I wonder when we have like the auto show next year, will they have the fantastic car there at the auto show, man? I'll go just to see that. I want to sit in the two. I'm telling you. But see, that's how you, when you know that Marvel did a good job, that they got certain things that you can take away from this film. Galactus, the fantastic car, the Baxter building. Those things were great, right? Now, when you think about also Galactus, come on now. So if I put the link out there in the chat, any of you guys want to come up and talk about the movie, your experience in watching it? I mean, I'll drop the link if somebody would like to come up and give their take and talk about this. Yeah, Jimmy Bernard says better than the flying DeLorean. Yeah, man. That sucker look like an old 60s Eldorado kitted out. I'm just trying to put another image up. What the hell? Here's another good crisp image of them. Look at their costumes, man. That's just totally the way that they found a way to update and modernize them guys. That just looks so awesome, man. And Ben Grimm looks straight out of the comics. Looks straight out of the comics. It took them all these years to make him look like that. This was the original film. This was Josh Trank's garbage. I mean, really? And then we all know what the Fox Studio Fantastic Four looked like, right? The Fox Studio Fantastic Four, they were all a bunch of, I mean, come on, man. Fox Studio, here we go. And I don't know what Ben Grimm is, that kind of pose he's doing right there. What the hell is that? Fantastic facts. What you doing? Shit. Man, if you don't sit down somewhere. Shit. Oh, straight up, look at that. What is that? What is that, man? Fantastic bird. Let's stick to the real stuff, man. Nobody wants to come up and talk about it. I told you I could put the link out if somebody wanted to. Well, it's all good though. You know, it was a great opportunity to relish and think back into this and know that they finally got it right. They got the right characters from the comics and they did a great job. In its heyday, when Marvel had great films, I would often see them 2 times in the theater. And I'm actually thinking about going to see this for a second time. Is it a great film? No. Is it very good? Yes. Is it worth seeing? Yes. It's probably the best film that Marvel has done since Endgame. So I guess I'm going to get ready to get on up out of here, you guys, since nobody wants to come on and talk about the film a little more. But I appreciate everybody that came out, you know. But we're going to hear from my man, the Focus Ball, huh?
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a focus ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a focus ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a focus ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a focus ball. When you train with the focus ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the focus ball now.
Yeah, the focus ball. Yeah, I want to say thank you to the brother. Shout out to the brother EJ out there with the Cash App donation, man. Thank you so much for your support, brother. Always showing the love and support. He says, supporting my sensei, phenomenal content. Thank you so much, man. But as we get ready to get on up out of here, you know, I just wanted to come out and give my little thoughts about having seen this film in the theaters and how much I enjoyed it in comparison to the other incarnations of the film that fell short for various reasons. But this one really struck home. It really felt like Marvel, and it really felt like the Fantastic Four. And as I stated in the title, a fantastic first steps for Fantastic Four, now back at home in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So with that being said, we're going to get ready to get on up out of here. I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your week. I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for tuning in.